Shalom and welcome to this episode of Ask Aviel. My name is Aviel. You can ask me questions so that we can share, learn and grow together. Today, I am going to talk about Moses. Let's look at another angle and learn about the fascinating character of Moses, our teacher, Moshe Rabbeinu. Till today, Moses is considered to be one of the greatest leaders known to humankind. He was privileged to possess clear prophetic revelation to bring down Torah from heaven. He also guided a nation of slaves out of hundreds of years of slavery, and he went on to lead them for 40 years in the wilderness, right up to the gates of the Promised Land. Everything that happened in his life had its purpose. He was probably born in Goshen and spent the first 3 months of his life there. Then he grew up in the palace of Egypt. Moses was to get accustomed to the ways of the king so that he could stand before the king again at age 80. Moses was to get accustomed to the ways of the desert in Midian to lead a people through the desert. Moses was to receive his first revelation when he encountered the burning bush at Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai in order to receive the revelation at the very same place when he brought down the 10 words of God. If Moses had not spent 40 years in the king's palace and 40 years in the desert of Midian, he could not have led the chosen people for 40 years in the desert. It really wasn't easy for the people to accept Moses at first and to give themselves over to his leadership. In Exodus 2, Moses went out to his brothers and saw their burdens. He noticed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. So he looked around, and when he saw that there was nobody, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Then he went out the following day and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. So he said to the guilty one, "Why are you beating your companion?" But the man answered, "Who made you a ruler and a judge over us? Are you saying you are going to kill me just as you killed the Egyptian?" Perhaps Moses was rejected by the Hebrews, his own people, because he had never really lived with them. Moses never really lived among the Hebrew people. On the other hand, he grew up in the palace and lived another 40 years in the Midian desert. Nevertheless, his own family members, Aaron and Miriam, his brother and sister, accepted him and supported him. We know that sibling rivalry had been there since the first pair of siblings were born. Sibling rivalry existed in the relationship of Cain and Abel, Isaac and Ishmael, Jacob and Esau, Rachel and Leah, and Joseph and his older brothers. However, Moses, Aaron, and Miriam managed to create a different pattern of cooperation and worked together for the good of the nation. The 3 of them formed a courageous bond of partnership and siblinghood. Imagine this. The children of Israel went down to Egypt following a story of a rift and conflict between brothers within the family. But they came up out of Egypt by finding the secret of wonderful siblinghood and collaboration between Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. Israel was called and chosen because it is the only nation created by God, out of one man. Every year, we gather around our cedar tables to tell the story of Israel's exodus from Egypt thousands of years ago. This is a reminder to all Gentile believers to be thankful. We are thankful not only for our personal freedom, but for the freedom and strength we have that allows us to help Israel to safety, to find their own freedom. The sons of Israel sold Joseph to the Gentiles. The result was that the whole world was saved from a severe famine. Israel sold Messiah to the Gentile church. The result was that the whole world was given the opportunity to be saved from sin. The sons of Israel came to Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai as an ascension. It represents the believer going upward in the spiritual journey. Moses went up Mount Sinai and he brought down the tablets of the covenant. He taught Torah to Bnei Israel, the sons of Israel. The nation of Israel was born right there at Mount Sinai. No longer were they called slaves, but it is recorded in Exodus 19:6 that Israel was to be to God a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Unfortunately, Bnei Israel saw that Moses delayed coming down from the mountain. They gathered around Aaron and said to him, "Get up, make us gods who will go before us. As for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what's become of him." The children of Israel said, "This Moses, it looks like he is not coming back. He didn't take food, he didn't take water. It has been almost 40 days. Is he even alive still?" The people made Aaron build and fashion them a golden calf. It is the same thing today when people say, "Times are looking really bad. There is pestilence, there is war, the weather is out of control, and there are natural disasters everywhere. Is Yeshua even coming back? Is Yeshua even alive still?" And people build their own idolatrous golden calves of religion. Of course, Moses came back to the people. Of course, Yeshua will come back again to vindicate Israel, to deliver Israel, and establish his kingdom here on earth. Moses did not eat or drink for 40 days and 40 nights. When he came back down the mountain to the people, he moved his tent outside the camp and separated from the people. Exodus 33. Now Moses used to take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, far off from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. So it happened, everyone who sought Adonai would go out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people would arise and stand, everyone at the door of his own tent, and look after Moses until he had gone into the tent. Moses went out of the camp with his tent. He shut himself off from the people and communed with God alone, one-on-one. He was half detached from the people. On one hand, he deeply cared about the people that he shepherded, but on the other hand, he was not part of them. This echoed how he grew up in the Egyptian palace as a prince, away from his people. Yet, Moses stepped in as a shepherd to help when an Egyptian was beating a Hebrew man, and then again the next day when he saw two Hebrew men fighting. At the very end of his life, God informed Moses that he would not be allowed to enter into the land of Israel. Moses ascended Mount Nebo and gazed upon the land, seeing it in front of his very eyes, but he never entered it. Exodus started off with Moses' life that began in Goshen with slavery. Moses' life ended by God acknowledging him as the slave of the Lord at the end of Deuteronomy. So Moses, the slave of Adonai, died there in the land of Moab at the command of Adonai. Numbers 12:3 records that Moses was very humble, more so than anyone on the face of the earth. Moses was the only one to be called the man of God in the Torah, and this is found in Deuteronomy 33:1. Moses, our teacher, Moshe Rabbeinu, reached extraordinary spiritual heights and a unique closeness to God. Let us be more like Moses and follow in his footsteps. Thank you for joining me. I pray that this message inspires and challenges you. God bless you and your family. Shalom.